Hi there, I'm Rhonda. Welcome to my channel. So what do you think of this hat? Or this hat? Either one, they're the same hat. My ripple design. Come on in today. I'm going to show you how to make it. Super simple, super easy, and you're going to love it. Come on with me. Hi there, welcome to Creative Crochet with Rhonda. So here I am, sitting in my home, all bundled up with a scarf and a hat. My furnace isn't broken, everything's fine, it's toasty warm in my house, freezing outside. It's been really cold here in Ontario, but here I am. Why am I wearing a hat and scarf in my house? Well, the reason is I want to show you something, and I want to tell you a little story about this set. So first of all, it didn't start out as a set. It started out as a scarf that I made about 2 years ago in this ripple stitch. First time I tried this ripple stitch, I was a pretty new crocheter at the time, and I was pretty proud of it because I think it's pretty. I like the way it turned out. But I didn't wear it because I have nothing to match. It's an interesting colorway, and I just didn't have anything, so it sat around. It was in a drawer, went to a shelf in the closet, moved around that way, but I never wore it. So fast forward, I happened to be shopping in Walmart a little while ago, looking for yarn, of course. Why else would you go to Walmart? Anyways, I found this yarn on the shelf calling my name. Red Heart Super Saver Stripes in the colorway Sutherland Stripe. I couldn't believe it. After all this time, they're still making this yarn. It's 100% acrylic, machine washable, dryable, 4-weight, typical Super Saver yarn. But it's still around. They have not retired this color. How many yarns have there been that you think, why did they retire them? I love that yarn. Like Caron Latte Cakes. What were they thinking? I like that yarn. I luckily have some. It's like gold to me. I don't even want to use it because who knows if they'll ever make it again. But this, 2 years later, this color, and it's not retired. Lucky for me. Isn't that great? So anyways, of course, I brought it home and I thought, yeah, I'm going to make a hat. So I went online and I was searching for a ripple stitch hat. It took me a while to find something, I'll be honest with you. But I found something. I thought I'm going to try it. A third of the way through, I looked at it and I kept looking at it. I don't know, something wasn't right. I frogged it. It wasn't working. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'll look for something else. And I had a really tough time. But I found something else. I thought I'll give it a try. No success there either. So I have this yarn. What am I going to do? And I thought to myself, Rhonda, be resourceful, figure it out. And I came up with this hat. And you know what? I hope you like it too. Let me know below in the comments what you think. I think it's cute. And I'm happy with it. So anyways, I was thinking that I may not be the only one who has a problem finding a good ripple stitch hat. So here I am today telling you that I'm going to show you how to make this hat. It's super fun. It's super easy. Please, if you like it, like and subscribe. Share it with your friends and let's work together. We're going to have a lot of these hats. We're going to keep making these hats. This one I made with a faux fur Pom Pom. I made it removable. I'm going to show you in a few minutes how I did that. And it's great because I can throw this in the wash, pull off the Pom Pom, and it's all good. So come along with me. I'll show you how to make it. You can do it. Let's do this. So here's a closer look at this particular hat. And if you want to make a hat that looks exactly like this, I used Red Heart Super Saver Stripes in the colorway Sutherland Stripe. This is a 4-weight, 100% acrylic, machine washable and dryable, and with a really pretty striping in it to create this effect, which is great for this particular ripple stitch. I also used a Pom Pom like this. Now I bought this Pom Pom on Amazon, amazon.ca. It came in a pack of, I believe, 24. Really great price. Really nice pom-poms with a variety of colors. And I'm going to provide you with that link below in my comments. This one's a little bit squishy because it's been in the bag. The way to fluff these up is with a hair dryer, and that gives them their beautiful shape. And this pom-pom has an elastic fastener underneath, and that's how I connect it to the hat with the button to make it removable. So here's the hat, and I'm going to show you how that's done. When I'm doing up the hat, I leave just a little bit of a hole in the hat when I'm fastening it off, and I sew a button on right next to that hole, and then I bring that little cord through, wrap it around the button, and there you go. It stays on nice and tight, and when it's time to wash the hat, I take off the pom-pom, and it works out really well. So now I'm going to show you a swatch, because this hat is actually made in one long rectangle that you fasten together to create a tube, gather it at the top, fold it up, and that's how you get this hat. There are different ways of making hats. You can make a hat top down, which starts with a circle, a magic circle, and works its way down. There are hats that you can make bottom up, where you start with the ridged edging or whatever type of edging and work your way up. So this one is made as a flat piece and brought together. So I'm going to show you the unassembled piece before we get started. So let's take a look at this panel. This is what you'll be creating before you actually assemble it into a hat. You'll see that we've got the ripple stitch going on here, and what you do is you are creating the length of the hat. So you start off with your 50 stitches. That's the length of the hat. As you continue your rows, that's where you look at the circumference of your head minus 2. So if your head is 22 inches, you'll be creating a 20-inch hat. Okay? So when you look at these ripples, the way this is done, it's very easy. It's a one-row repeat, and the ripples are created with increases and decreases. Where you see the dip, that's a decrease. Where you see the peak, that's an increase. And it's all double crochet. It's really easy, and also it's back loop only once you get to the repeat row, which is the second row. So let's start, and we'll see how it goes. I think you're really going to enjoy it. For today's tutorial, I'm actually going to be using the Premier Puzzle yarn. I really wanted to try out this red yarn. Now it is a little bit different than the Super Saver Stripes in that it is a 5-weight, and I will just show you the Super Saver is a 4-weight, and I'm going to show you the difference in the thicknesses. There is definitely a difference. As you can see, the 5-weight is a little bit thicker, but this hat pattern is quite versatile in using 2 different thicknesses, which is why I'm suggesting to you that if you use a 4-weight or a 5-weight, there really is no problem with that. I'm expecting, because it's a 5-weight, that this hat is going to be a little bit slouchier, so I may want to roll up the rim a little bit more, or just wear it as a slouchy hat, and I'm completely fine with that. So I'm keeping the starting number of chains at 50. The starting number of chains is always a multiple of 12 plus 2. So if you're making a smaller hat, by all means go down to 38, which is 36 plus 2. Or for a very young baby, you can even go down another 12. So it's up to you. With this pattern, the beauty is you can always test your measurement, particularly with the circumference of the head, because you're just doing the number of rows that you need to fit that measurement. Okay, so the other things I'll be using an eye or 5.5 millimeter hook, and the Premier yarn suggests a 6 millimeter hook, but of course I want to tighten it up a little bit because I'm using a bigger yarn. Plus, with a hat, it's cold out. I don't want there to be too much space in between stitches, so going down a half a size is perfectly fine. You'll also need scissors, a tape measure. Of course, that's really important with this pattern because you will be measuring your project as you go along just to see what the measurement is as you work up your rows. Of course, you'll need a darning needle to weave in your loose ends. And I always like to suggest a stitch marker, specifically with this project. If you don't finish your project right away and you want to leave it aside, you can hook your final loop with this stitch marker, and that way it will protect your work from unraveling. So we're ready to get started. Again, you use which yarn you like, and you will be measuring to make sure you have the size that you want. Okay, we're going to start by placing a slip knot on our hook. And remember, it's a multiple of 12 plus 2. So we're going to be chaining 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and continue to 50. 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50. So we have 50 chains on our hook. And I like to start on the side of the chain that has the little bumps. I always find it gives a nicer finished look, and I find it's easier to work with, but you're welcome to start any way you want with your first row. So remember, the loop on the hook doesn't count for anything. We're going to insert our hook into the third chain. So not counting the loop, we're not going into the first one or the second one. We're going to do a double crochet into the third chain on our hook. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet into the next 3 chains. It's 1, 2, and the third one, of course, double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. And that gives you 2 double crochets at the beginning, which is like your first increase, and then 3 more double crochets. And now we're ready for the first decrease. A double crochet decrease is the same as double crochet 2 together. We're going to be working over 2 stitches and creating 1 stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. At this point, normally you would yarn over and pull through the other 2 to complete your double crochet. But we're not going to do that. We're going to yarn over and insert into the next stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop. We have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. 3 more loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3. And that is your first decrease. And you'll notice you worked over 2 stitches and you end up with 1 stitch. We're going to do that one more time. Every time we do a decrease or an increase in this pattern, we're always doing them in 2s. So once more, yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now we're going to yarn over, insert a hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3. And we've just completed 2 decreases. So now we're going to do 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. Now that's your first double crochet, and do 1 more in each of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2, for a total of 3. Okay, so if you take a look at our yarn now, you'll see the dip. And that's what the decreases do. They create these valleys. Now, by doing those 3 double crochets, we worked our way upwards, and now we're going to do 2 increases to create that peak that you saw in the ripple pattern. So an increase is simply 2 double crochets in 1 stitch. We're going to do that twice. So in this next stitch, we're going to do 2 double crochets. So we're going to do 1 double crochet and do another double crochet. And we're going to do that into the next stitch as well. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2 for your first double crochet, and another double crochet in that same stitch. And let's take a look. Now you can see it doesn't take long to see that beautiful ripple pattern with the dips and the rises, or the valleys and the peaks. So now we're ready to work our way back down again. So we're going to do 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So got 1 and 2 and 3. And so what we're doing is we're alternating between the decreases and the increases. So now we've worked our way down. We're ready to do 2 more decreases. So let me go over that again. Yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. There's 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to leave those 2 loops and yarn over, insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now there's 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the remaining 3. So that's our first decrease. And remember, all of our increases and all of our decreases are done in 2s. So we're going to do 1 more. So go into the first stitch, and now we're going to go into the next stitch, go through 2 and go through 3. Okay. Now at any time, if I'm going too quickly for you, then go into your settings and you can slow down the speed, or you can always backtrack and listen again. But once you get this, it's just repeat. Just decrease, 3 double crochets, 2 increases, 3 double crochets, and so on and so forth till you get to the end. So let's do that 1 more time, and then you can continue on your own to the end of the row. So now we've completed the 2 decreases. We're ready to work our way back up. And so we're going to create 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So here we've got 1 and 2 and 3. And so the last thing we did was a decrease, and now we're going to do another increase. So remember, it's 2 double crochets in each of the next 2 stitches. So yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and once again, yarn over, insert your hook into that very same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. And so what you're doing when you're increasing is you're working in 1 stitch and creating 2 stitches. And that's what creates the rise in our pattern. So once more, we're going to have 2 double crochets in the next stitch for a total of 2 increases side by side. So again, we're doing 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Sorry about this big blob of yarn here. Two and three. So continue with that repeat. Remember, you've done the 3 double crochets and you've done these 2 increases here. So now you're going to do 2 decreases followed by 3 double crochets, followed by 2 increases, and so on and so forth until you get to the end. And I'll meet you at the end. Approaching the end of our row here, we have our final set of 2 decreases left. So we'll just go over that one more time. Yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the final 3. That's 1 decrease and the final decrease. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 3. So if you've been doing everything right, your final count should be 4 chains left. And so what you're going to do, just like before, you're going to do 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So let's do that. 1, 2, and 3, and now we have 1 final chain left in this row. And what we're going to do, if you remember, in that first chain we did the double crochet with the chain, with this chain, to create an increase. So we're going to have an increase at the beginning and an increase at the end. So we're putting in 2 double crochets in that final chain. 1 and 2. And let's take a look at our work. You can clearly see these beautiful ripples. And so what we did here is we have an increase at the beginning, an increase in the final chain, and we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 dips. So we've got 2 decreases, or 2 double crochet 2 together here, and 2 decreases here, and 2 decreases here, and 2 decreases here, for a total of 4 sets of 2 decreases. So a total of 8 decreases. And then we have 3 peaks. So 2 increases, 2 increases, 2 increases, and then 1 increase at each end, for a total of 8 increases and 8 decreases. And in between, we've got our 3 double crochets. Okay, and that's how we create this beautiful ripple pattern. Now, we're going to chain 2 and turn our work. And we're going to add something new in this second row, and this is going to be the repeat for every single row after this. Okay, so what we're going to do is, now we're going to work within these V stitches here, but we're not going to grab the stitch by going into the whole V. As you see here, there's 2 strands. We're not going to do that. We're going to go into the back loop only. So we're going to do a double crochet in that first stitch like we did in the last row, but we're going to do it in the back loop only. So yarn over and insert your hook down in between that V stitch, and yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull through 2, pull through 2. And there you have your 2 double crochets together. And now we're going to do 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches. And remember, back loop only for the rest of this project. Okay, so I'm going to do 1, 2, and 3 double crochets, working our way into that first dip or that first valley. We are now ready to do another decrease. And remember, 2 decreases, we're always working in the back loop. So let's do that together. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, back loop only, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, back loop only, yarn over, pull up a loop, 4 loops on your hook, pull through 2, pull through 3. And that is your first decrease. We're going to do it one more time. Yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 3. And there you have your second decrease. And remember, in between your 2 decreases and your increases, you're going to do 1 double crochet in each stitch, each of the next 3 stitches. And again, reminding you, back loop only. So let's do that. 1, 2, and 3. And now you can tell by looking at your work where you are in your pattern. You can tell if you're at an increase, and you can tell if you're at a decrease because the row below it acts as your guide. So now we know we're in an increase, and we're going to do 2 increases. So 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches. So here's 1 increase, back into the same stitch. That's 1 and 2. So see how easy this is? Everything's repeat from now on. Another 3 double crochets in the next 3 stitches. 1 in each stitch. 1, 2, and 3. And now you'll see, back into a dip, we're ready to do another decrease, 2 decreases. Remember, keep that back loop only. There you go. So 1 more decrease. Remember, in the back loop only. And now we have our another decrease. So see how the pattern's going? You can see that ridge, and you can see how it's working up so nicely. Okay, so we'll do it one more time, and then you should be comfortable with what we're doing. And if you're not, by all means, go back and take another look and review what we're doing, but everything is repeat. Okay, so we've just done our 2 decreases. So working our way back up to that peak, we're doing 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. And look, we're back up to the top of our peak. So what do we do now? We do 2 increases. So 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2, and 1 and 2. And that's it. That's the whole pattern. So what you're going to do is you're going to follow that pattern and you're going to measure, and when you get to 2 inches less than the circumference of your head, and the general size is about 22 inches for the circumference of the average adult head, so you'll do about 20, and you're going to give yourself some room for that hat to stretch. Okay, and then once you're done with that, I'll meet you at the end of that, and then I'll show you how to put them all together. Okay, so I'm going to just repeat it one more time to make you feel comfortable, and then I'll leave you to it. Okay, so we just finished 2 increases, and we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. And if we look, always look if you're not sure. You know that if you're in a dip or in a valley, that you're going to do your decreasing to follow along with that directional pattern. Okay, so now we're doing 2 double crochet, 2 together, or 2 decreases. And always remember to go into the back loop only. Okay, so 2 decreases followed by 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches, followed by decreases, and so on and so forth until you get to the last decreases. Then you do 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches, and in the last stitch you do 2 double crochets, chain up 2, turn your work, and start all over again with your 2 double crochets at the beginning, and then 3 double crochets, and then you work with your decreases and carry on from there. So now that you're done, you should have your tape measure, and make sure that you have measured so that you have the right size. And you're measuring from the peak to the dip, okay? Because that's where your hat's going to attach. So from the peak all the way to a dip. And that should be the size that is comfortable for you or for who you're making it for. And once you've measured from the dip to the peak and it's 2 inches less than the circumference of your head or whoever you're making it for, that should be the perfect size. It's also a good idea to wrap it around their head or your head and see how that feels, okay? So now we're going to construct our hat by folding it together and sewing it and creating a tube. So we have not snipped our yarn. We've not finished off because we're still using that yarn. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold our project in half. So we have our tail, our beginning tail, and our end stitch right here. Okay, so we are going to grab that loop, and I'm going to show you how it joins. It's really quite interesting. Okay, so you can see how it fits perfectly like a puzzle. Okay, just like that. So we're going to take our ends, and what we're going to do is we are going to slip stitch into the back loop of each side. So just like we did the back loop only with this pattern, that's what we were doing, because we want that one ridge to show through, and it will look, hopefully it'll look seamless when we're done. Okay, so let's see how that's done. We're going to chain up 1 just to get started. And then we are going to insert our hook into the back loop, just like when we were working on our project. Go into the next piece and go into the back loop. Okay, so we've connected them. Yarn over, pull through one, pull through the other, and pull through that final loop, and that's your slip stitch. Okay, so again, we're going to go in, so we're not yarning over, we're just going into the next stitch. So look carefully for the next stitch, back loop and back loop in the next stitch on the other side. Hopefully you can see, because this yarn is quite a bit more busy than the red, but I think you should be able to see that. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and you're going to continue all the way down the length of your hat to do that. Okay, so whoops, we're doing a slip stitch all the way down in the back loops only, starting with the side closest to you and moving to the side away from you, pulling through all 3 loops, and continue all the way down. So I will meet you at the end and we'll see what to do next. Okay, so we're all together now. We have our tube. Hopefully you didn't have a problem with that, and it looks great. As you can see, we've created that ridge, so everything blends in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fasten off our yarn, but we're going to leave a long tail because we're going to use that to cinch up our hat. Okay, so take your yarn, pull it through, leaving a nice long tail, and then you can snip that. Okay, I always probably go longer than I need to, but I'd rather have more than enough than not enough. A little bit of wastage is never so terrible. Okay, so now is where we need our darning needle, and we're going to thread our yarn through the eye of our needle, and this is going to be the top of our hat. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our needle in and out, weaving it through the entire hat, all the way around. Pull it every so often. And keep going, just grabbing the top section in and out. And this is, of course, going to be the top of our hat. Now I made this one a little bit small because I plan on giving this one to my grandson, because I made him an outfit with this yarn, but I find that I keep making his hats too small. He's not even 2, but every hat I make it's been a top-down hat where you start with a magic circle, and somehow, even though I'm doing it for 3-year-olds, it's just too small. So that's why this type of hat really works out well, because you can adjust it to the circumference, and it's really, really easy. And because it folds up in a cuff at the bottom, you can just make the cuff a little bit higher or double it up. And for a child, that's great because they can grow into it. So your hole at the top should be getting smaller as you go along. And this is where you can put your pom-pom on. You don't have to, but I find these types of hats always look best with a pom-pom. And you could do a yarn pom-pom, or you could do a faux fur. I think because this is for my grandson, I'm going to create a yarn pom-pom, and I could show you how that's done on my Clover pom-pom maker. So you should have a teeny little hole at the top. Just keep weaving in and out, like so. then, oops, then you can just go across and grab in the rest. Now, if you're planning on using a faux fur pom-pom, I like to make them removable, so I need a little bit of a hole at the top for that. And once you put a pom-pom on, you don't see that little bit of a hole, but I tend to like to close it up as much as I can, just by going across. Nice and closed up. We don't need air conditioning cold winter, so we like to keep it nice and tight. Okay, so then what we could do, it doesn't really matter which is the inside and which is the outside because it is reversible, but let's push the needle through. And turn it inside out and see what we have on the other side. It might be a little less visible where the seam is on the other side. I don't even see it. Do you see yours? So this might be the way to go. Okay. So wherever you decide you want the outside of your hat to be, your yarn should be on the other side. Now, if you're going to have a removable pom-pom, now I did not leave a space because I am not going to have a removable pom-pom here. If you are going to have a removable pom-pom, like a faux fur pom-pom, then you should leave just a little bit of a hole that you can put the, I like to use the ones with the tie. I'll show you them in a moment, that you put through, and I like to sew a button on the inside and fasten it. Okay, so I am going to weave in my end. Actually, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to weave it in a little bit, but I'm going to keep this because this is what I will use to fasten the pom-pom. I've got a long piece of yarn. I can use that. So there you have it, and you can push the cuff up, and there's your hat. I think that's going to be too big for my grandson. He'll definitely have to grow into this one. That's pretty funny. I think I can wear this. That's okay. I would rather have it too big than too small, and I can always make another one. So there you have it. I'll be back with the pom-pom maker. Okay, time to make our pom-pom. So what you'll need is a very good sharp pair of scissors. Now you can make a pom-pom any way you like. You can use a faux fur pom-pom as well and fasten it the way I showed you at the beginning. For this particular hat, I do like the idea of a yarn pom-pom. And so here is a set of clover pom-pom makers that I purchased on Amazon. I'll provide you with that link below in the comments section. So there are 4 sizes, from really tiny to large. For this hat, I will definitely want to be making a large pom-pom to suit this hat. And on the packaging is instructions on how to do it, but I'm going to show you that right now. So here we go with the large one. And it opens up, oops, both parts of it. So there's a top and a bottom, or 2 sides. Doesn't really matter which one is top, which one is bottom. And they open up like so. So they come completely apart. Okay, so we're going to work on one side at a time. So we take our yarn, and I happen to have some yarn left over. And this is going to be flopping around. I'm going to have to unwind some. It's no longer nice and neat coming out of the skein. So what you want to do is you want to wrap it around really well. So you hold it at first. Doesn't really matter where you start. You could start at the end, you could start in the middle, and you just keep winding it and winding it all the way around. So you see. Now you can do this in different ways. Because this is a variegated yarn with different colors, I'm just going to wrap it as it comes off the skein. But what you could do is you could do one side with one color and the other side with another color and make a pom-pom that it has two halves. It's a very cool effect. So you want to wind this around until it's really full. Unless you want a loose pom-pom. The more yarn you have, the fuller, thicker, tighter your pom-pom will be. So you want to get the yarn all the way to both ends. You don't want to leave any bare spots in there. Keep going until it's as full as you can get it without going over the sides. And you'll have a beautiful, thick pom-pom. Okay, so I'm happy with this, and I just close it up and take my scissors, and I'm using my big scissors this time because once I'm ready to cut it, you'll see why I need the sharp scissors. Okay, so with my first side complete, I'm ready to turn it over and do the other side. So again, pulling up some yarn. Okay, so again, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Hold that little tail until you wind it around a little bit. And then just keep winding and winding to get a nice thick amount of yarn all throughout this little section. Going back and forth, winding and winding. Because this particular yarn, this Premier Puzzle Cryptic yarn has a lot of gorgeous variation in it, it should make for a really interesting pom-pom. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it looks once it's done. You can see the colorway changing. Now we're getting into this more of a stripy effect. Keep going and going. This is when you hope the color changes because you want to see all of the variety that this colorway has to offer throughout the entire pom-pom. But it comes out as it wants. And it doesn't really matter because it's going to match the hat no matter what. So almost done, getting a nice thick amount of yarn. Make sure it doesn't go over the edge like this, which I just did. If it does, just pull it back. I'm almost waiting for that color to change. But I think it is what it is. It's going to stay the blue. No hint of green in there yet, but that's okay. It's still going to be lovely. Almost done. You can tell I like mine nice and thick. Getting a nice even distribution throughout. Okay, so hopefully that's enough. And again, take my scissors and cut. So now my entire circle is covered in yarn, and you do see a difference on both sides, so that should be interesting. Now I'm ready to cut the yarn. So I take my scissors, and you see this little marking here. I put my scissors in there. You really need a good sharp scissors because you have to cut through all of that yarn. And see how those, oops, I want to keep that together. You may need to hold it together. Just keep snipping. You can see all those beautiful pom-pom fibers revealing themselves. So that's one side cut. I'm going to cut through all of the fibers. And next. There's something very satisfying about making a pom-pom. Okay, so now both sides are cut right through. Now we've got to get another piece of yarn to wrap inside this space here. I can feel I've missed something there. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to grab a good length of yarn and I can cut that piece of yarn. And again, I always like to make things super long. I may want to wrap twice just for added security. And then I put that through. You could see how I put that through the gap there. And what you need to do is tie it and pull as tight as you can. And be careful because some yarn, especially roving yarn, it would break. If you are using roving yarn to make a pom-pom, you might want to use a different yarn to tie it off because if you pull really hard, you'll snap that yarn. So you want to use a good strong yarn for this part. And what I like to do to make it really secure, I like to wrap it around one more time, which is why I use a very long piece of yarn, tie it at the other side, and again, pull really hard till you feel that tension tightening up. And again, a good knot. And okay, I'm being extra careful. I have some extra yarn here, so I'm going to tie it again. Make it really tight. And another knot. And that should be more than enough. I mean, if you ever read the instructions for this, I think it tells you to tie it once, but I like to tie it at least twice. So now we're ready for the big reveal of our pom-pom. And so here you've got these little handles. You pull them apart. Look at that. Okay, and this one here. And then these two ends separate. Pull them apart gently. And ooh, fluff it up. And look at that. We've got our pom-pom. That will go on top of the hat. And you may end up with longer edges, so you can just take your scissors and give it a bit of a trim throughout. But the pom-pom maker will make it fairly even. I'm getting fibers all over my hat, but that's okay. It's like a haircut. We just shake it off. Okay, so I've got these long ends here, and I could definitely use those to fasten my pom-pom to my hat, or I could take that long tail that I kept with the darning needle already on it and use that as well. Now I'm not going to actually fasten this one because this one is actually too big for my grandson. I may give it to my son, and he doesn't like pom-poms, so I'm not going to actually fasten it on. But the yarn pom-pom is typically permanently fastened. You just push the darning needle through the pom-pom like so. You can see how I do that. Okay, I'm not going to actually push it through. And that's, you just keep going through it and keep pushing it through and fastening to the hat until it's really nice and tight. And then you can go to the inside of your hat and tie it off in there, weave in your ends, and you've got a pom-pom for your hat. And that's it. Pretty simple. I will provide you with the link where I purchased that. It was on Amazon.ca if you choose to buy this set of 4. It's fun to have. It's not necessary. People have their different methods of making pom-poms. They sometimes cut out circles out of cardboard and do a very simple, cheap method of creating one. I find these are fun. I think it makes it easier. So if you want to purchase them, this is what it looks like. There's the packaging right there. Something like that. Okay. So that's it. There's your hat. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and comment below. Let me know how your hat turned out. If you thought the tutorial was helpful, I always want to hear from you, and share. And if you haven't subscribed yet, of course, please do that. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.